What matters most in my life right now? My friends from the Live Inspired Together community, I think this is a question that too often we are too busy to ponder, to consider, to ask, and to answer. What matters most in my life right now? Well, last week I had an opportunity not only to answer that question, but to live into it. You see, last week for me was supposed to be a very hectic week. There were coaching calls and virtual speeches and pre conference calls and team meetings and one to one operations, strategy sessions, all kinds of stuff that were keeping me racing forward in my professional life. Bills to pay, calls to return, emails to respond to, everything else. In other words, work, work. And frequently in life, when we are not working, we're trying to manage the other side of the spectrum, which is considered life, relationships. I got 4 kids. There's homework to do and outfits to lay out and belts to find. And man, where's your left cleat? I don't know where your cleats are, Jack. All these things right now that keep you called and pulled in a million directions. In other words, life. But how often do we sit back and ask the question sincerely? What matters most in my life right now? Right now. Well, on Monday last week, I got a call from my mother asking, "Hey, John, will you do me a favor and sit with Dad on Wednesday? I got some errands to run. I got to run out of the house for several hours. Would you stay with Dad?" And I was delighted to stay with him. I was planning when I offered to sit with my dad, who's got Parkinson's disease and struggles. He's no longer able to be at home by himself. I planned to bring out lunch to him, hang out with him for a little bit, and then get back to my work, back to my responsibilities, back to my job, back to my life, back to me, back to me. But right as I was leaving the office Wednesday morning to head out to my dad's for the day, I made a decision that I think changed my day. I left my laptop here. I left my laptop here. And instead of bringing work into my dad's house, I brought a couple chocolate milkshakes and some barbecue. Rather than responding to emails or planning strategy sessions or having one to one coaching calls or creating videos like this, I instead spent time making my dad lunch, cleaning it up after him, making sure that he had the proper pills at the proper time, helping him in the restroom. In other words, serve him, be active with him, be a son with him. Instead of taking phone calls, I spent that time seated with my dad. Sometimes we spend time talking, sometimes just listening. His voice is very fragile these days. Sometimes we laughed, but for the majority of the time, we just sat there, present, together. And it was an awesome day. It was one of the best days, actually, that I can remember lately. It was a phenomenal day with my dad. With my dad. What matters most in your life right now? COVID 19 and the difficulties over the last 12 months have certainly taught us much if we're paying attention. If we're paying attention. One of the lessons, most certainly, though, Live Inspired Together community, it should have taught us is this: the fragility and the preciousness of life. Um, the last 12 months have reminded us how fragile life is. What better way is there than to slow down, to recognize the beauty, the grandeur, the miracle of life, than to do so away from work from time to time, away from technology from time to time, away from the busyness and the race and the sprint from time to time? Because too frequently we buy into the lie that the more we do, the more emails we send, the more followers we get, the more money we make, the more happiness and joy we will find. And yet, I've always found the more we climb that ladder of success, we discover as we make it toward the top that it's almost always leaning against the wrong wall. Almost always leaning against the wrong wall. So, on this day, I encourage you to pause, to breathe, to slow down, and to ask yourself the question: what matters most to me truly right now? And then have the audacity to leave behind the technology, leave behind the phone, leave behind the computer, leave behind the work, even for a little while, and go spend time doing exactly that. You will find as you look back on that moment, that hour, that day, that it may indeed, like mine on Wednesday, be one of the most successful, meaningful days of your year so far. So, my friends, I want to thank you for being part of our Live Inspired Together community. I want to encourage you to check out the podcast right below me. It's with Paula Ferris. You're going to love it. You're going to love the link to the blog that is right below me that unpacks the story at an even more specific, impactful level. And then right over there, you see him. That's Coach Matt. He's got a trap that too frequently we fall into and a tip that will elevate not only our days, but our lives. You won't want to miss it. If you're looking for ways to help elevate our organization and the impact that we are part of here, 3 ways. Number 1, take action on these lessons. That's my favorite way. Take action. Just go, do. Take the time to be with your loved ones, to be in nature, to do something that matters most to you right now. Take action. Secondly, share. Share the content on social media, whether it's the podcast, this message itself, the blog, or Matt's coaching tip. And then thirdly, become a sponsor. Contribute to us. The work we do here is valuable and not inexpensive. Your membership, your support helps us make a difference, not only in our community, but around the world. So those are the 3 ways. My friends, I'm looking forward to coming back into your life next week. So until then, my name remains John O'Leary. This is your day. Enjoy it. Soak it up. It's a precious gift. Don't miss it. And live inspired.